Hello, everyone. Some breaking news. Puff Daddy, Mr. Combs, got indicted for alleged sex trafficking and some abuse issues. And I don't want to go through all the details of the entire article and all that. That's not the point I'm trying to make here. When I first heard he was suspected of sex trafficking, I don't know, months ago, year ago, whenever it was, and then he kind of just disappeared, kind of fled in a way it appeared to me from what I read and saw. I thought to myself immediately, here's another person that presented themselves to the world as a legitimate success. By legitimate means, not illegal means, not nefarious means. Music producer, rapper, whatever you want to call the guy. I've always personally thought he was a scumbag. Never liked him for 1 second. Always saw something really shitty in that person. But again, the point I'm trying to make, not my personal feelings about the man. Another person who flaunted wealth and success, etc. He was on that TV show yelling at, the kids, trying to turn them into a band and shit like that. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, what we don't see, the show we don't see, is the sex trafficking part. The part where the real money comes from. Again. And guess what? There's no Clintons involved, nothing like that. For all the conspiracy theorists that really aren't conspiracy theorists, they were just spouting Russian talking points for 20 years. That all these platforms enabled, promoted, blah, blah, blah. I also heard this evening that Facebook is getting rid of Russia Today, Russia's main propaganda channel that's been broadcast on television and all over social media for at least 20 years or more. I don't remember when that started. So everyone's platformed that as well. And now that it's finally all being exposed, that all these companies took Russian money, now they want to pretend to take action when they still left all the individual broadcasters up. So I don't applaud Mr. Zuckerberg or Facebook for doing this 20 years too late after all the violence and craziness has taken place and they've made their millions. Now they're going to kick Russia Today off the platform. Here's the real reason, or the only reason it's probably happening. Russia Today was directly tied to the Russian money distributed to the paid Russian shills, or paid shills for Russia, Benny Johnson, Lawrence Southern, Chen, Tim Pool, and many, many more. So that's probably the only reason that it's because the public found out about it, understands now. And they're eventually going to come to the conclusion that all these platforms enabled all this and promoted it for 2 decades. That's the only reason this action was taken, in my opinion. And I think certain people are starting to realize that, there's going to be lawsuits in the future. Class action type stuff. I've talked about it before. Anyway, so back to Puff Daddy. Again, so many people, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, so many others. Tucker Carlson, I'm sure, would try and present the same image. That they're successes in life and they did it all on their own. And they did it legit. Donnie wasn't money laundering. Donnie wasn't working with the Russian mob for years at all. He did it all legit. Pulled himself up by the bootstraps. No, he's a millionaire by age 8. Dad put him on salary. Probably for tax purposes, not because he loved him. Inherited $400 million from his daddy. Talking about Donnie shitbags here. The Orange Messiah. Never succeeded in really any business, because that wasn't the point of the businesses. if you catch my drift. The point was to write off the losses and make money a different way inside those businesses. So he doesn't care about losses. Losses make him money, actually, via the IRS. All day, every day. Donnie loves losses. So that's the real story behind Donnie Shitbags and the 6 bankruptcies and stiffing contractors and never paying his bills, etc. So no, he's not a pull himself up by the bootstrap success. He's a con man who inherited everything from his daddy. And squandered that even. Mr. Musk grew up rich, emerald mine, you know the whole story. There's no bootstraps going on there either. Got billions from the federal government, U.S. taxpayer money. Anyway, the point isn't to go into all these details about each of these people. The point of what I'm trying to say in this video is so many people that end up on magazine covers, end up controlling social media websites via Russian and Saudi money. And I forgot about that little fact. Mr. Puff Daddy helped finance the purchase of Twitter. What does that mean? That means he partnered up with Russia, Elon Musk, the Saudis, and others to buy the most powerful text website there is today. That tells me he's MAGA and he wants his tax cuts too. Happens to so many people when they get money. Look at Dave Chappelle promoting Musk at one of his shows a year ago, whatever it was. Dave Chappelle. Money changes people. Never thought I'd see Chappelle promoting Elon the man Musk. But I saw it. Mr. Chappelle even insulted his own audience to defend Mr. Musk. It was one of the saddest things I've ever seen in my life. And it's sad to see so many people that come into money somehow, all of a sudden join the cult or join the grift or join that side of things. When they don't even need to. They'd still be filthy rich anyway. So Mr. Puff Daddy joined that side of things too because, you know, in reality, Mr. Puff Daddy should be a liberal when you look at the two platforms and what they stand for, etc. But he's not. He went in with Elon and the Russians and the Saudis and helped finance a buy of Twitter. Seeing this is very kind of pathetic, especially again when so many people that end up on magazines touted by the media as a success because they have a lot of money, and we don't know how they got it until we investigate, because they all lie about it. Everyone wants to come off as that man who pulled himself up by the bootstraps, yet so few people are actually that. That's a rare thing in this world. It's almost like hitting the lottery. To break through that barrier. Anyway, again, so many people that are thrust in front of our faces to show us, oh look, this is what success looks like. Puff Daddy, Donnie Shitbags, Elon Musk, aka the Beluga Douche, people like this, J.D. Vance, who changed his name several times. What's he running from? These people are thrust in our face and they dare hold them in front of our faces as success. Then we find out all their money came from money laundering or sex trafficking or this nefarious thing or this nefarious thing. Years later. Or from their daddy or from their mommy. Why is that always the story? And why are they always trying to make that not the story of themselves? The Tate brothers are next. They're in Romania facing sex trafficking charges there, those guys. And, they didn't exactly hide what they were doing. They're trying to hide it now. They were kind of boasting of it before. But again, these people were trying to present themselves as successes. Here's the thing. A lot more of us would be successes, which what does that mean in this plane of existence? It means you have a lot of money. That's all it means. Nothing else. That's the definition of success in most humans' minds in this plane of existence. There'd be a lot more successes if everyone was willing to commit crimes and sex traffic and all that, wouldn't there? But all of us aren't willing to do that. Only some of us are willing to do that. So we can end up on a magazine and drive nice cars and have sex with beautiful women when they look like Puff Daddy. You know what I mean? How else would he have done that but money? Or Elon. He had to pay $1 million to be with Amber Heard. Johnny got her for free. And in fact, she owes Johnny money. No more need to be said about that. No more need be said, about that. Some people are willing to go these lengths and try and pass themselves off as a good guy and a success because they drive in a Bentley or being driven in a Bentley or a limo, what have you. And they get to walk on the red carpet, etc. And have shows where they, bully young musicians as if they have any talent. And I'm talking about the guy doing the bullying, as if he ever had an ounce of fucking talent in his life. All of us aren't willing to do that. And it's funny, those fingers got pointed at one side of things for so many years and certain people, and it turns out it's really the other side of things that's all into that stuff. That's heavy into the sex trafficking, heavy into the God knows what else, all kind of things, the Russian money, etc. All the accusations hurled at one political side of the spectrum. That other side of the political spectrum that hurled all those accusations and all the pundits, Russian shills, etc. that went with it, the Hannitys, they actually personify the finger they are pointing, the allegations they are making, and they're falling one by one by one by one. People that were so loud and vocal over the years, so filled with pride and putting that forth, that they were just the god of their realm, when in reality, either their mommy gave them all their money, or their daddy, or their sex trafficker. Blah, blah, blah. It's just every time, man. So many people have this facade up of legitimacy. Years later, we find out they're a complete fraud and have been committing crimes for decades. Bernie Madoff is the most perfect example. Had rich people begging to invest with him. He never invested a fucking dime his entire career. All he did was take people's money and hand it to somebody else and keep most of it for himself and his family. Again, people begged to invest with that man. He was on all the magazines. He was part of the SEC. He was an institutional part, an integral cornerstone of Wall Street. To the point billionaires were begging to invest with the man. And all he did was steal their money for decades. before we finally found out the truth. Again, I want to repeat that. This man was touted as, economic genius, part of the whole Wall Street establishment for decades. Didn't have one legit bone in his body. Perfect example of guys like Puff Daddy, etc. Complete, abject, talentless fucking frauds that were either born on third base, most likely, or did it by nefarious means. It's always the damn story, man. It's getting old. But hey, what can you do? Anyway, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Again, just another example of an abject fraud who made his money by nefarious purposes and wasn't some genius fucking producer or anything like that. What a joke, man. Anyway, have a good day.